First up, we have Mike Mooney, the founder and the CEO of VIP Orbit Software. The topic of our discussion today is be aware of the 7 deadly networking sins. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, we have a collision about to occur, Lauren, called the holiday season, which is typically known as the spirit season of giving, against the backdrop of a world that is social media, what I like to call social me oriented, where their focus is becoming more and more narcissistic and on me. And when that collision occurs and the networking opportunities that are going to occur at the holiday parties, etc., you want to avoid those because, your net worth is your network, and how well you manage that network is going to determine the success you have in your life. And so
I like
you've
that.
got to be aware of those.
Yeah, your network is your net worth. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct,
So,
it is, yeah.
Let's say you're at a holiday party. You're having a cocktail with a colleague, maybe a manager from another division you'd like to move into. How much should you toot your horn?
Very little.
Very little. Okay.
Very, very, very little. What people typically like is to talk about themselves. So if you're going to be good at what you do in networking, you want to get people to talk about themselves rather than you talking about yourself. So it's a very simple thing to do. Just say, what do you do and how can I help you, against the backdrop of that, season of giving. To tell people that you're willing to help them kind of obligates them to, in return, help you down the road should that need occur. And so that's how you begin to establish a more solid footing in networking.
So if we're going with that sin theme, that would be pride. It's okay to believe in yourself, just don't show it. Don't toot your own horn, maybe have them toot their own horn, or switch the discussion. How do you explain greed?
Well, greed, I think of all 7 sins, in my opinion, is the worst one because it is so focused entirely on yourself where, we've all been around people that you can tell right away are in it for themselves and they're using us, even abusing us in so many ways for their own self-advancement, and that's a turnoff. And so greed is the worst of them, and the way to avoid it, again, is to come back and just simply turn the table around and offer something as opposed to wanting something.
Okay, let's move down the list here. Lust?
Well, lust is the overarching desire for self-gratification, and again, from a networking standpoint, where you've got relationships at stake that could be either infinitely and potentially very lucrative or not, you want to avoid that, something for myself that is for my own self-gratification persona.
Mike, I gotcha, but there's a fine line between showing that you're interested and appearing to be too interested and too into yourself. So how do you appropriately come across saying, look, I might be the person for this job, this is what I want, but also seem favorable?
Well, Lauren, I think what people respect and admire in the talks that I give, et cetera, in the crowds that I speak to, is authenticity. And as an underlying foundation to all of this, in everything you do with a perspective towards and for other people as opposed to yourself, you've got to be authentic in that. And, there's some simple things you can do in pleasing people and winning their hearts and minds. A simple smile, the tone of your voice, right? Simple body language kind of gestures that get people to laugh or chuckle because that's contagious, and people like to be around people like that. So it's not that difficult.
Right.
It is surprising how few people apply such simple techniques to winning over relationships.
Can we let's stick with the holiday party theme? Can we go over what a conversation should look like at a holiday party, an office party?
Well, sure. It's an opportunity to mingle with people in an informal sense. I mean, depending on the size of your company or, the organization that you're a part of, I would use it as a time to go and meet people that you're not typically around. Introduce yourself. Obviously, identify what you do and what department you're in, but then quickly turn it to the other person. And if you know something about them, compliment them, ask them a question that you've been wanting to ask them, etc. But turn the tables on them so that you get them to talk. Other people talking helps you learn, and the potential for opportunity to advance in your company, to make a new, relationship that could help you down the road is right there, ever present in front of you in that informal sense.
Okay. There's a couple more sins, quote unquote, that we haven't covered. Did you want to go over any of them? Anger, gluttony, envy, sloth?
Well, I could, but the way I again like to describe it, Lauren, is that they all focus on me, and that is to the detriment of anything that you want to achieve in a relationship. I can be inspired to do good things and avoid those sins, but until I act out in an authentic fashion towards and with other people, I'm not going to achieve my stated goals. And so you've got to be aware of those 7 sins. You've got to be aware of their perception of you, because what's at stake here is your reputation, right? And that's not anything I can control per se. I can manage it, and the way I best manage it is to, do things that formulate in other people's minds a positive impression of me.
Yeah, and your reputation precedes you. Thank you so much.
Correct.
Mike Mooney, the founder and CEO of VIP Orbit Software. Thank you so much. Great to meet you. Good stuff.
Thank you, Lauren.